Chapter 91 Find a Mistress. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Once folks chill out, they always find something else to mess with, so, Nuwa fired up the Avenue disc again that day. Lu Feng hadn't been cultivating lately, so his reports were pretty regular. Nuwa didn't listen every day, she just checked in now and then. As soon as she opened it today, Lu Feng's voice popped out. Nuwa's face was normal at first, but after hearing what he said, her expression turned dark. I bet that old fox Honghuang is watching me. When's the teacher gonna create humanity? Honghuang only cares about the heavenly way and is suppressing the human way. There should have been 21 saints in the ancient world. Nuwa was bombarded with info, her head was spinning, there was so much in what Lu Feng said. Turns out, Honghuang was holding back humanity and authenticity, and he was gonna become the real master of humanity. Formally, heaven, earth, and humanity should all be equal, but now that the way of heaven had its own agenda, the way of humanity and the way of earth couldn't really emerge. That's why Honghuang did everything he could to send her here to steal the destiny of the human religion, wanting to control humanity and keep it down. After dealing with humanity, maybe his next move would be authenticity. Nuwa vaguely remembered Lu Feng mentioning that the master of the earthly way was supposed to be a descendant of the witch clan. If that were true, maybe humanity and authenticity could team up. Nuwa couldn't help but look toward Mount Buzhou. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, plus, she and Houtu used to be on good terms. They just drifted apart lately because of the demon clan. Now that she was free from the demon clan, it seemed alright to reconnect with Houtu. With that thought, Nuwa had a plan. Good thing she wasn't stuck in heaven anymore. If she were, Honghuang would have put a bunch of restrictions on her. Nuwa kept listening, and she was surprised when Lu Feng mentioned Fushi's name again. Too bad Uncle Fushi is destined to die in this witch calamity. But he will become the human emperor of the human race later on. After that. The sound cut off right there. Nuwa was anxious. What happened next? She tried to figure it out, but no matter what, she couldn't see Fushi's future. She couldn't even see his death, but Lu Feng was usually right, and Nuwa didn't want to risk it. She just stared into space. If that's the case, then her brother Fushi would probably die in the witch calamity. It's just that he would later join the human race as the human emperor. That confused Nuwa a bit. Reincarnation. How's that gonna work? Since it involved her brother, Nuwa didn't care if she revealed that she could hear Lu Feng's daily report. She headed straight for Lu Feng's Hengwu palace, but she only took 2 steps when a loud voice echoed from the base of Mount Shouyang. Taiyin Star Shi He and Chang Shi pay their respects to Empress Nuwa. Nuwa froze at the sound of that voice. Those 2 sisters had been living in seclusion on the Taiyin Star. Why were they suddenly at her Mount Shouyang today? But Nuwa didn't go out to greet them herself. Instead, she sent Xuandu, as Lu Feng's disciple. Xuandu was now a master of formations. Shi He and Chang Shi could see the formation in front of them slowly opening. Just getting close, they could feel its power. Seeing the inside of the formation, the 2 sisters were amazed. Mount Shouyang was thriving, so different from the desolation they'd imagined. Shi He and Chang Shi finally understood the power of a saint. Meanwhile, Xuandu was blown away by the beauty of Shi He and Chang Shi. He'd heard his master talk about them, but seeing them in person was something else. Shi He was gentle, while Chang Shi was delicate. They were different, but both were gorgeous. Shi He and Chang Shi looked at each other, then bowed to Xuandu. We greet fellow Taoist Xuandu. Xuandu quickly returned the greeting. Xuandu greets the 2 goddesses. Chang Shi nodded slightly. They'd never met Xuandu before, but now they knew he was special. They wondered what kind of amazing teacher Lu Feng was. We're here today to see Saint Nuwa. We've heard that saints fight against Xianmen saints on their own. She's a real role model for us female cultivators. Fellow Taoist Lu Feng, the leader of the human religion, is pretty good too. He suppressed me, who is at the peak of quasi-sage cultivation, with the power of Daluo Jingxian. Now that we've met fellow Taoist Xuandu, we know there are lots of talented people in this sect. Xuandu smiled. You're too kind, but the teacher and the master are really powerful. When he talked about his teacher, Xuandu's eyes lit up. His teacher had mentioned these 2 goddesses a lot. If he could make them his mistresses, his teacher would definitely praise him, right? Thinking about it, Xuandu pointed toward Lu Feng's palace. That's my teacher's Hengwu palace. The Hengwu palace isn't very big, but the scenery is awesome. If you two have some time, you should check it out. Shihe and Changshi were a little surprised to hear that. In that case, how about we visit fellow Taoist Lu Feng first, then see Saint Nuwa later? Xuandu had been waiting for them to say that, so he nodded quickly and led them toward Lu Feng's palace. Back at Shouyang Palace, Nuwa was still waiting for Xuandu to bring Shihe and Changshi, but after waiting a long time, Xuandu was nowhere to be seen. Nothing should happen to Xuandu on Mount Shouyang. But since the human sect was in the middle of everything, Nuwa just looked down the mountain. She saw Xuandu leading the two goddesses toward Lu Feng's palace. Nuwa was completely baffled. Wasn't he supposed to bring the two goddesses to her? How'd he end up taking them to Lu Feng's place? Nuwa was confused, but she couldn't help sending a message to Xuandu. Xuandu, come see me later. Hearing Nuwa's message, Xuandu knew she wanted to talk to him, so, after dropping off the two goddesses, he flew toward Shouyang Palace. Chapter 92 Goddess Discussing Taoism. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Master, Xuandu reporting for duty. Nuwa waved a hand, her expression questioning. Didn't I tell you to escort Shihe? Why did you take them to your teacher instead? Xuandu chuckled, then lowered his voice. Master, between you and me, the old man can't stop singing their praises. Says they're knockouts. Besides, he added, the teacher's been a bachelor for ages. If I could hook him up with these goddesses, maybe he wouldn't be so lonely. Nuwa's face darkened. Well, aren't you the dutiful apprentice? And when did Lu Feng start secretly gushing over these goddesses? I must have missed that. And a wife is going to fix boredom? Nuwa scoffed quietly, oblivious to Nuwa's sour expression. Xuandu rambled on. I'll find the teacher a couple of wives, then maybe he'll finally acknowledge my filial piety. Give it a few years, and when the teacher comes back from his honeymoon, who knows, maybe I'll even get a couple of junior brothers. Xuandu was practically glowing with pride. Nuwa's face was now thunderous. By the time Xuandu finally looked up, Nuwa was wearing a saccharine smile. But that smile sent a shiver down his spine. Oh star. Maybe the master isn't too thrilled, but shouldn't a teacher be over the moon when her apprentice gets hitched? Xuandu, Nuwa began, each word dripping with sarcasm, I had no idea you were so thoughtful. Xuandu breathed a sigh of relief. False alarm, it seems. She's complimenting me, star. The teacher has always been good to me, and I should return the favor. Hearing this, Nuwa's smile widened, but it was more menacing than ever. You're such a dutiful child. In that case, I can't let your efforts go unrewarded. Xuandu quickly bowed his head. This disciple was just doing his duty. I don't expect anything in return. Nuwa fixed him with a steady gaze. You will accept this reward. With that, Nuwa raised her hand. Almost instantly, the immense power of the great Tao of creation surged throughout Shouyang Palace, coalescing directly above Xuandu. Xuandu stared blankly at the swirling vortex above, confusion clouding his face. What is this? Nuwa's smile was sickly sweet. Why, it's a good thing, of course. The moment she finished speaking, a powerful force yanked Xuandu straight into the vortex. As Xuandu disappeared inside, the gateway to the world slammed shut. Nuwa's voice echoed from within. Just stay in there. This is a world I created. If you cultivate diligently, your strength will increase significantly. Xuandu gaped at the dark world and the hordes of savage beasts. A cold sweat broke out on his back. He hammered at the closing gateway. Master! He cried. I don't need this reward. But his voice was lost in the desolate world. Meanwhile, back in Hengwu Palace, Lu Feng leaned back comfortably in his lounge chair, enjoying the breeze from the lotus pond as he leisurely sipped tea. Changshi and Shihe arrived to this scene. They had built Lu Feng up in their mind as this great and powerful figure. However, he turned out to be more of a bookworm. hearing their footsteps, Lu Feng turned. He gave them a surprised glance before regaining his composure. "Are you two fellow Taoists looking for my teacher? Why have you come to my Honghuang palace?" Chang Shi and Shihi felt a little awkward. Could they really say that they'd heard the scenery here was better? That would be a major hit to their goddess prestige. Chang Shi and Shihi exchanged glances, then quickly responded, "We heard that fellow Taoist Lu Feng is a man of valor, so we wanted to pay our respects before visiting Empress Nuwa." Lu Feng nodded. "I see. Since you're here, why not stay for some tea?" With a flick of his wrist, 2 more chairs appeared beside the table, 2 steaming cups of tea materialized in front of them. The aroma of the tea made them feel a little giddy. They slowly lifted the cups and took a sip. Their eyes lit up. "Good tea." Lu Feng set his empty cup on the table and said casually, "Just something I brewed." "I'm glad you like it." Chang Shi and Shihi couldn't resist. They took sip after sip. By the time they were finished, they wanted more. Seeing this, Lu Feng refilled their cups. "You two didn't just come to drink tea and enjoy the view, right?" The sisters were surprised by Lu Feng's perceptiveness, but the scenery was indeed spectacular. The lotus flowers in the pond were soothing to the eyes. "You're right, we came to exchange insights about the Tao with you, fellow Taoist Lu Feng." They were frank. Lu Feng didn't hold back either. He talked with them at length about their respective paths. Lu Feng had now mastered the perfection of several laws. Talking to these sisters was no problem. Moreover, his skills were based on the 3,000 avenues of cultivation. Now Lu Feng would give a few words of advice from time to time, which really provided Chang Shi and Shihi with a lot of ideas. The eyes of the 2 sisters became brighter and brighter as they listened, and they looked at Lu Feng with deep shock and admiration in their eyes. The conversation lasted for hours. The sisters were reluctant to leave. Lu Feng had offered them such thorough guidance. They knew that if they continued to chat with Lu Feng, they would gain even more. Lu Feng glanced at the sky and was about to say something when a light appeared. Honghuang was cheerful. "I didn't know you 3 were discussing Taoism here. Why didn't you invite me?" Lu Feng smiled. "2 goddesses were just visiting, so we had a chat. But it doesn't sound like you're here to discuss Taoism, right?" Chapter 93 Scary. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Honghuang patted her head, strolled over to Lu Feng, and helped herself to a cup of tea without a second thought. "This spiritual tea is a rare treat, even for a Taoist like you, Lu Feng. Of course I had to come try it out." Lu Feng chuckled and pulled out a tin of tea. "This is my latest creation. Care to be a guinea pig?" Hongyan's eyes lit up at the sight of the new tea leaves. "Wouldn't miss it." Lu Feng feigned annoyance. "Just so you know, this is the first batch. Don't come begging for more later. It'll be at least 1,000 years before I get another harvest." Hongyan's face fell at the news. "Why's that? Can't you spare a little more?" Lu Feng rolled his eyes. "Do you have any idea how much work went into growing this tea? This is all I got. I'm giving you a quarter, and I still have to give half to our teacher later." Honghuang silently touched her nose. "I just can't help myself, this spiritual tea is too good to resist." "But what is this stuff anyway?" Honghuang looked at the tea tin in her hand, confused, and took a tentative sniff. Instantly, she felt her mind clear and focused, and a surprised look crossed her face. "This tea is incredible, that she couldn't even imagine what the effects would be once it was brewed," Lu Feng snorted. "Of course it's a treasure. You can keep it." Seeing Honghuang and Lu Feng chatting away, Shiha and Chang Shi couldn't help but wonder about the tea. "Fellow Taoist Lu Feng, what kind of sacred tea is that? Would you mind if we took a look?" Lu Feng, being generous, quickly brewed a cup for each of them, explaining patiently. "It's called enlightenment tea. Drinking it clears your mind and helps you enter a state of enlightenment quickly." The sisters exchanged surprised glances. Is there really such a thing in the world? However, after tasting it, they realized Lu Feng had undersold it. The moment the tea touched their lips, they knew it was far more than just regular spiritual tea. The tea was rich, fragrant, and had a unique flavor. Their minds were immediately stimulated, and even the laws they had struggled to understand seemed on the verge of breakthrough. They looked at Lu Feng with a newfound admiration, but they were still a little hesitant. Fellow Taoist Lu Feng, would you be willing to part with some enlightenment tea for us? We'd be willing to wait thousands of years and trade spiritual treasures for it. Lu Feng was surprised that they'd offer their spiritual treasures for just a taste of tea, but, thinking about it, it made sense. People spend their lives seeking enlightenment. Maybe they sensed something special in the tea, something that would help them along their path. Lu Feng quickly nodded and took out his own share of enlightenment tea. Enlightenment tea isn't really that useful to me, so why not give my share to you too? No need for Lingbao. Lu Feng swore he wasn't giving them the tea because of their beauty, he simply didn't need the treasures. After all, even if they offered their most valuable items, they wouldn't compare to the 36 Dinghai divine pearls or even the god-killing spear he possessed. The goddesses were surprised at his generosity as he handed over the tea. They were ready to wait for the next batch. Never expecting Lu Feng to be so giving. Far away in Shouyang Palace, Nuwa clenched her fists. That brat. He's so generous to outsiders, he wouldn't even give me this good tea if I asked for it, not even Lingbao. Is he trying to find a partner or something? For the first time, Nuwa questioned Lu Feng's motives. However, remembering that he kept half of the first batch for her, the gloom in her heart immediately lifted. Changxi and Shiha accepted the tea and expressed their gratitude. Thank you so much, fellow Taoist Lu Feng. If you ever come to Taoyin Star, we'll be sure to host you. Changxi then took out a laurel branch. This is a spiritual root from the laurel tree on my lunar star. It might be useful to you. As one of the 10 innate spiritual roots, the lunar star laurel tree is considered sacred. Lu Feng didn't expect Changxi to offer it so readily, and the laurel tree could be of great benefit to his cultivation, so he accepted it without hesitation. After the exchange, Changxi and Shiha didn't linger. They transformed into light and disappeared from Honghuang Palace. Lu Feng shook his head. They are nice people, but it's a pity. Jun would soon seek them out on Taoyin Star, right? After marrying Emperor Jun, they would give birth to 10 golden crows. Unfortunately, the human race and the witch race later joined forces, and 10 golden crows appeared in the human race domain, so in the end 9 of them were shot dead directly by Hou Yi's Qianquan Palace. Changxi and Shiha suffered the pain of losing their son, and later suffered the pain of losing their husband. Lu Feng really didn't know where the 2 goddesses went. Maybe he died in the Lich tribulation, or maybe he returned to the lunar star. Hongyun looked confused. What's so sad about that? Lu Feng quickly shook his head. Nothing, never mind. Hongyun thought she had misheard him and casually added. Those 2 goddesses are as charming as ever. Plenty of people want to take them as partners. Lu Feng just smiled, remaining silent. So what if people admire them? The goddesses of Taoyin Star were destined to marry Jun. It was ordained by fate, no one could change it. However, Hongyun didn't let it go, grinning at him. Those 2 seem to like you. If you played your cards right, you might even be able to marry one of them. Just as she finished, a cold voice cut in from behind. Really? Hongyun jumped, breaking out into a cold sweat. Empress Nuwa? How did she sneak up without a sound? This is terrifying. Chapter 94. Do you have any thoughts about them? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Hongyun reflected on her entire life, searching for the root of the problem, but she was stumped. I could only stand there in silence, afraid to say another word. Nuwa smiled at Lu Feng. I didn't realize my apprentice was so generous. Giving away enlightenment tea like it's nothing. Lu Feng scratched his head, missing the sarcasm in Nuwa's words. He just assumed she was praising him. Didn't we have guests? I had to save face for my teacher, right? Nuwa said with a wry smile. My disciple doesn't just talk a good game, he follows through. Why weren't you ever this generous with me? Lu Feng was now completely bewildered. Even a fool would realize something was up. Was there a hidden meaning in her words? Could it be about his conversation with the 2 goddesses from Taoyin Star earlier today? But what's the big deal? She's not actually upset, is she? The more Lu Feng considered it, the less likely it seemed. Still, to avoid her wrath, Lu Feng quickly responded, "Of course they can't compare to you, teacher. I saved most of the enlightenment tea just for you." Hearing this, Nuwa raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you only leave half?" "No way. My teacher is so beautiful and captivating. I couldn't possibly only leave half. How would that show my respect?" Lu Feng continued quickly. "Besides, that's just what I tell everyone else. My heart is pure when it comes to you, teacher." Lu Feng's desperate plea almost brought him to tears, but Nuwa wasn't buying it. Lu Feng, that little rascal, was always up to something. She knew better than to fall for his smooth talking. All right. Spare me the sweet talk. Just tell me straight, are you interested in those two goddesses from Lunar Star?" Lu Feng was stunned for a moment, then his eyes widened. "Interested? They'd make excellent Taoist companions, but I'm really not interested. The thing is, those two goddesses were clearly destined to marry Emperor Jun. If Lu Feng interfered, wouldn't he be going up against fate again?" Although Lu Feng wouldn't necessarily mind that, but with Nuwa giving him the stink eye, Lu Feng certainly couldn't say that. Hearing Lu Feng's answer, Nuwa nodded in satisfaction. "Good. Don't go wandering around lately. Stay in your cave and cultivate, and stop thinking about nonsense all day. Also, I've sent your disciple to a good place for training, so you won't be seeing him for a while." Lu Feng didn't immediately take Nuwa's words to heart. It was a great opportunity for his disciple to learn from Nuwa. Once Nuwa finished her instructions, she transformed into a beam of light and disappeared, but Lu Feng immediately started his daily sign-in and report. "Life's finally getting interesting again. The two sisters from Taoism Star actually visited my Honghuang palace. They really are as gorgeous as everyone says. They are indeed the sisters in the legend. The two sisters are really equally good-looking. Too bad they're already destined for a heavenly marriage. After the Lich tribulation, those two goddesses will probably disappear from this world, right?" Lu Feng quickly finished his report, and the system rewards arrived. Congratulations to the host for completing today's sign-in and receiving a mysterious gift package. This was the first time the system had offered a hidden bonus, and Lu Feng was pleasantly surprised. A hidden secret meant this was going to be good, so he had to open it. As the unboxing animation played, Lu Feng quickly saw 3 items appear before him. Congratulations to the host for obtaining the Avenue Furnace, the Avenue Level Magical Power, and the Chaos Heavenly Spirit Fruit. The Avenue Level Magical Power quickly turned into a ball of light and merged into Lu Feng's body. Lu Feng could already sense the power of this magical power, the return of all phenomena. When used, all phenomena can be returned to their origin and dissipated. Lu Feng couldn't help but whistle. It definitely lived up to its title, that's for sure. If he got stronger, could he use it to revert even saints back to their original state? Lu Feng couldn't help but laugh, imagining someone toiling for years, only to be sent back to square one. Too bad, with his current strength, he couldn't revert a saint, but when he got stronger, he could give it a shot. Lu Feng quickly looked at the other rewards. Avenue Furnace, an Avenue level rare treasure, capable of repairing Avenue level and lower spiritual treasures. Chaos Sky Spirit Fruit, a Chaos Spirit root that can strengthen the physical body, improve origins, and allow the user to directly become a saint physically. That last one was pretty impressive. However, Lu Feng's current physical body was already at the level of Honghuang Daluo Jingxian, so he could consider giving the Tianling fruit to someone else. The system had really delivered with these rewards. Lu Feng pocketed the Chaos Sky Spirit Fruit and started playing with the Avenue Furnace. Lu Feng remembered that his world-destroying Great Mill was a Dao-level incomplete spiritual treasure. Time to test this thing out. Lu Feng pulled out his world-destroying mill and tossed it straight into the Avenue Furnace. As the fire engulfed the world-destroying mill, Lu Feng could only see a faint silhouette from outside. The repair seemed to take forever. Lu Feng finally waited until the fire dissipated. The world-destroying mill before him now looked brand new. The Dao-level world-destroying mill radiated the ruthless and endless power of the Dao. Even though the space was sealed, Lu Feng could still feel the surrounding space distorting. Worried that unleashing a Grand Avenue-level spiritual treasure would cause a disturbance, Lu Feng quickly stored the world-destroying mill in his Chaos Orb. no need to worry about heaven watching. Lu Feng carefully examined the world-destroying mill in his hand. With such a powerful treasure, he might be able to crush Hongjun with it someday. Lu Feng was feeling good. When he was happy, he liked to write, so Lu Feng opened his dashboard and started his report. I can't believe I got so lucky today, completely repairing the great mill of destruction. Now, it all depends on whether the human race can produce a human emperor. Once the human emperor arrives, the human religion's fate will peak, and humanity will easily establish itself. Chapter 95 Cultivation Experience. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Zixiao Palace. I've lost count of how many times I've come to Zixiao Palace, begging for an audience, and this time, it was about me finally becoming a saint. The thought brought tears to my eyes. Teacher, your disciple is worthless. Others keep snatching my opportunities. I just don't understand why they keep taking away my path to becoming a saint. I hate myself. Hongjun glanced at me, a sigh escaping him. After all, Lao Tzu is Pangu's true successor, and establishing the human religion was supposed to guarantee his sanctification, but Nuwa and her disciples have blocked him at every turn. Even Hongjun was at a loss, so, he just offered dry words of comfort. Don't be so down. Maybe your time just hasn't come yet. That I was stunned. Fate? This was obviously because someone kept stealing my stuff. And it was my chance to reach enlightenment. I was practically fuming, but I couldn't show it in front of Hongjun. I could only give him a pathetic look. Hongjun felt the urge to retire right then and there. Don't be so impatient. I've already figured out a plan to have someone lead a retreat into the wilderness soon. Then you can go to the human race to teach and finally get your shot at becoming a saint. Hongjun's guarantee washed away the grievance on my face, replaced with pure excitement. The teacher was going to act. He really did care about me. When the human religion withdrew from the primordial world, I could go straight to the human race and start teaching, stealing the luck of the human race to become a saint. The possibility of finally achieving sainthood visibly lifted my spirits. Thank you for your guidance, teacher. Your disciple will take his leave. Shouyang Mountain. Lu Feng had been a little down lately. Rarely, it was raining on Shouyang Mountain, and it had to rain now. This time, though, the rain meant Lu Feng couldn't go out and soak up the sun like he liked to. So, Lu Feng just moved all his tea-drinking buddies into the palace. His palace had more than doubled in size. Lu Feng spent his days picking through his small treasury, bringing out treasures to decorate Hengwu Palace. But as soon as Lu Feng's generous spirit treasures appeared, Hongyun, who lived next door in Hongxing Palace, got a little jealous. How was it that he, a quasi-sage at the peak, wasn't as well off as Lu Feng, a great Luo golden immortal? Look at what Lu Feng was showing off in his palace. Bright, innate spirit roots everywhere. Any one of them would be a huge opportunity for someone, but Lu Feng had filled his palace with them. The sight of all that lush greenery made Hongyun's mouth water, so, Hongyun went to Lu Feng's place almost every day. Eventually, Lu Feng got used to Hongyun's visits. Deputy leader, you here again? Hongyun now had his own recliner in Lu Feng's palace. He flopped down on it as soon as he walked in, sighed contentedly, and turned to look at Lu Feng. You got it made, kid. But I gotta ask, if you don't practice and just plant flowers and grass, aren't you worried your strength won't grow? Lu Feng chuckled. Of course, I have my own way of cultivating. Hongyun perked up at that. Oh. What's that? Lu Feng replied casually while watering the flowers. Pure, unadulterated talent. Hongyun. Don't even mention talent to me, or I'll feel like punching something. Hongyun wasn't exactly lacking in talent, but compared to Lu Feng, he felt inferior. Lu Feng's cultivation was just growing too fast. Even though he never saw Lu Feng practicing, Lu Feng's aura grew stronger every time they met. Even if it was just a little faster, it was still faster than him. If he had Lu Feng's speed, he'd probably be one of the saints by now. At that moment, in Shouyang Palace, Nuwa also came out of her cultivation. After checking on the human race as usual, Nuwa glanced over at Lu Feng's Hengwu Palace. Sure enough, the human race was doing well. But Lu Feng? He was like a bum. Nuwa got annoyed every time she saw Lu Feng being so lazy, but Lu Feng's strength was still improving. so, she silently took out the great Tao disc, intending to see what her good disciple had been up to lately. Two goddesses from Taoism Star are visiting today. As soon as the great Tao disc came out, Lu Feng's voice sounded. Hearing Lu Feng praising the two goddesses of Taoism Star, Nuwa raised an eyebrow. When did Lu Feng start paying attention to those two? That was asking for a beating. But when she heard Lu Feng talking about the heavenly marriage between the two goddesses, Nuwa was shocked. The two goddesses' heavenly marriage was something she'd only just deduced herself. How did Lu Feng know about it? But her disciples had always had abilities like that, so Nuwa didn't bother thinking too hard about it and just kept listening. It's a pity the two goddesses will be lost in the Lich Tribulation. Hearing that, Nuwa frowned. Could the Lich Tribulation really affect so much? Even the fate of the two lunar star goddesses? Nuwa filed that away and listened to Lu Feng's daily life. Finally, I repaired the Great Mill of Destruction. Now I have another trump card. When Nuwa heard the name Destroying the World, it sounded familiar, but she couldn't place it. But just as she was about to keep listening, Nuwa's head shot up. Could this world-destroying great mill be a great spiritual treasure? She'd once read a record written in Dao 1, there were only a few words, but Nuwa remembered the great tribulation of world destruction it mentioned. When Nuwa heard Lu Feng, it clicked, maybe this world-destroying great mill was the spiritual treasure in that record. But how did that kind of treasure end up in Lu Feng's hands? And he actually managed to repair it? Nuwa couldn't believe it. If she didn't want to reveal that she could hear Lu Feng's daily reports, she wouldn't be able to hold back her curiosity and ask. Suddenly, Nuwa remembered what Lu Feng had once said about her brother being caught in the Lich Tribulation. Lu Feng hadn't finished what he was saying then, but Nuwa was dying to know more about her brother, so, Nuwa put away the great plate and turned into a stream of light that landed in Lu Feng's Honghuang palace. Chapter 96 Houtu's Visit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Lu Feng was used to Nuwa's visits and barely paused what he was doing. After watering the flowers, Lu Feng bowed respectfully. Teacher. Nuwa settled into a chair. Haven't seen you in a while. Keeping up with your training, Lu Feng chuckled, scratching his head. Yeah, but I think I've hit my limit. Getting past Daluo Jinxian is proving pretty tough. I'm almost embarrassed to face you. Nuwa scoffed inwardly, talent limit. Please, a 12th grade Supreme Daluo Jinxian, even just as a Daluo Jinxian, he could probably go toe-to-toe with a quasi-sage, and can't make any progress. Lu Feng had made leaps and bounds over the years. He's just plateaued. It happens. Nuwa kept her face calm, no matter what she thought. Alright. You've got decent talent, but you need to stay diligent. You'll break through to quasi-sage eventually. Nuwa didn't offer to find him any resources anymore. Lu Feng had plenty, way more than she did. Lu Feng nodded firmly. Understood, teacher. Thank you. Nuwa said, as if on a whim. Oh, speaking of which, last time we sparred, didn't I trap you in the exquisite pagoda? But you didn't use any spiritual treasures to escape. How did you get out? Lu Feng froze. Crap. He'd forgotten about that. Who knew Nuwa would be so sharp and double-check everything? Before Lu Feng could come up with an excuse, Nuwa continued, since you didn't use treasures, you must have broken out with raw strength. If you can shatter the defenses of an innate spiritual treasure, are you saying your body is as tough as an ancestral god's now? Lu Feng's heart pounded. Nuwa was really putting him on the spot, but Lu Feng wasn't about to back down. He was stubborn and shameless enough to deny everything. Teacher, you're joking. I'm just a green lotus transformed. How could I have that kind of power? I just caught you off guard, that's all. Nuwa chuckled. Only Lu Feng would try to lie to her face like that. Someone who plans a sneak attack like you, underestimated me. He probably wanted to crush me from the get-go. Besides, Lu Feng might act young, but he was a rare 24th grade Chaos Qinglian. If Nuwa didn't know the truth, she might have fallen for it. But it wasn't time to call him out, so Nuwa changed the subject. I see. Actually, I came to see you about something else. Lu Feng perked up. What is it, teacher? I'll do my best, Nuwa smiled, then sighed. It's about your uncle Fushi. He cultivates the Tao of heavenly secrets, not fighting. But he's still part of the demon clan. If he runs into the 12 ancestral witches, he could die. Lu Feng raised his eyebrows. A saint's foresight was truly impressive, but Fushi was his teacher's brother, so Lu Feng didn't mind dropping a hint. Actually, teacher, don't worry too much. There's always a silver lining. Sure, Fushi might face danger, but that could be his big chance. Nuwa secretly sighed in relief, so, my brother can't avoid this calamity. Still, knowing Fushi had great opportunities coming, Nuwa felt better. In that case, I suppose it's up to fate. Lu Feng nodded. His teacher was pretty open-minded. Just then, a voice echoed from Shouyang Mountain. Houtu of the Wu clan, here to pay respects to fellow Taoist Lu Feng. Lu Feng was confused. Why was Houtu here, and why was she asking for him? Nuwa frowned. Even if Houtu visited Shouyang Mountain, she should be looking for her. Why was she skipping her to see Lu Feng? Could she have fallen for her apprentice? Nuwa's expression darkened. Still, she said nothing, waiting to see what Lu Feng would do. What could Lu Feng do? He opened the barrier and let Houtu in. To Lu Feng's surprise, Zhu Rong was with Houtu. What were they up to? Soon, Houtu and Zhu Rong arrived at Lu Feng's Honghuang palace. Welcome, fellow Taoist Houtu and fellow Taoist Zhu Rong. Houtu and Zhu Rong smiled and greeted Lu Feng and Nuwa. Greetings, Saint Nuwa and fellow Taoist Lu Feng. Sorry for the intrusion. Lu Feng laughed. Your clan helped the humans last time, we haven't forgotten. How could we blame you for visiting? But, what brings you two here today? Lu Feng knew these ancestral witches, so he cut to the chase. Zhu Rong liked that. He hated the phony Taoists, all talk and no action. Lu Feng was a Taoist, but he acted more like one of them. We're here to see fellow Taoist Lu Feng, the Daluo Xiao who's even stronger than a quasi-sage. We've heard about you, Lu Feng. Now that we've met you, we see that you truly live up to the hype. Lu Feng was stunned by the compliments. Weren't the Wu clan supposed to be all brawn and no brains? How was Zhu Rong so smooth? And so generous with the praise? Chapter 97 Brutal Force Competition. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just as Lu Feng was about to speak, Houtu cut in. Lu Feng is a truly kind soul. If you hadn't given me the chance to name him last time, I might not have found him now. We both came today specifically to apologize to you, Lu Feng. Lu Feng waved his hand, looking a little embarrassed. It's nothing, really. Just a casual thing. Zhu Rong perked up, his eyes shining. Lu Feng, they say you're incredibly strong. I'm itching to see how I stack up against you. Lu Feng fell silent. He really shouldn't have gotten his hopes up about the Wu clan. This was going to be a brawl, wasn't it? Usually, they just fought amongst themselves, but now they wanted to drag him into a sparring match. Noticing the awkward look on Lu Feng's face, Houtu quickly tugged on Zhu Rong's sleeve. Brother, we didn't come here just to challenge Lu Feng. But Zhu Rong was fired up and wouldn't listen to his little sister's pleas. Lu Feng's reputation precedes him. This is a golden opportunity, and I have to test my skills. With that, Zhu Rong stood up. Lu Feng, however, had no intention of fighting Zhu Rong. These ancestral witches were all so aggressive. If he fought one, a whole bunch more would show up. He didn't want to finish with Zhu Rong only to have the rest of the ancestral witches lined up outside his door tomorrow, so, Lu Feng quickly waved his hand. You flatter me, Zhu Rong. I'm just a simple Qinglian with Daluo Jinxian cultivation. How could I possibly compete with you? The only reason I managed to beat that old guy last time was because I had a few lucky spiritual treasures. Zhu Rong looked hesitant. Just then, Nuwa piped up. Since Zhu Rong's so eager to spar, why don't you go ahead and fight him? It's been ages since I've seen you really cut loose. Lu Feng never expected his kind master to be the one stirring up trouble. Was she trying to push him into the deep end? Lu Feng tried to decline, but Zhu Rong slammed his hand on the table. Lu Feng, do you think I'm not worth your time? Is that why you're dodging me? Lu Feng jumped, startled. No, nothing like that. Were these ancestral witches always this intimidating? Seeing his reaction, Houtu gave Zhu Rong's arm a gentle pat. Brother, if you want to spar, go ahead, but don't scare the poor guy. Zhu Rong rubbed the back of his head, embarrassed. Lu Feng, out of excuses, could only nod. Alright, let's do this. But how about we change things up a little? What do you say? Zhu Rong looked puzzled. Change it how? I'm all ears. Seeing Zhu Rong's earnest expression, Lu Feng wondered how he managed to leave Buzhou Mountain in the first place. If he went around like that, he'd get taken advantage of, but Lu Feng wasn't trying to pull a fast one. He just suggested with a smile. Your Wu clan can't cultivate souls or use magic weapons, while I have plenty of them. That would be like bringing a knife to a gunfight with you. People would say I was bullying you. You're a master of fire, Zhu Rong. I can't even hold a candle to you in that regard. I'd be at a disadvantage. It wouldn't be a fair fight. Zhu Rong listened, a little confused at first, but then it started to make sense. You're right, but if we can't use any of that, how are we going to compete? Lu Feng snapped his fingers. Simple. How about we ditch all the fancy stuff and just go at it with brute strength? Hearing Lu Feng's suggestion, Zhu Rong's eyes lit up. He knew Lu Feng respected him. Brawls within the Wu clan always involved brute force, and Lu Feng's proposal was music to his ears. Besides, the Wu clan was famous for its physical prowess. Lu Feng wanted to challenge him in a test of strength. This might be over before it even began. Eager to get started, Zhu Rong practically vibrated with excitement, but Houtu frowned. That's not fair. Lu Feng's physical strength can't compare to ours. And you're one of the 12 ancestral witches. That would be cheating. Zhu Rong hesitated. He didn't want to win with an unfair advantage. Lu Feng shook his head. Don't worry, Houtu. My physical strength isn't as bad as you think. Besides, I've always wanted to experience the power of the 12 ancestral witches firsthand. Hearing Lu Feng's words, Zhu Rong couldn't hold back and took a fighting stance right there in the hall. Then let's do this now. Seeing Zhu Rong's eagerness, Lu Feng smiled and shook his head. This is my palace. It's a little cramped, isn't it? How about we go outside? As long as he could compete with Lu Feng, Zhu Rong didn't care where they went, and he quickly agreed. They flew out of Shuyang Mountain. Houtu and Nuwa exchanged glances and followed. They landed in an uninhabited area. Lu Feng and Zhu Rong faced each other, while Nuwa and Houtu stood back and watched. Zhu Rong looked thrilled, rubbing his hands together. Lu Feng, take this punch. He raised his arm, and the power of his bloodline burst forth, creating a dark aura that shot into the sky. Lu Feng felt the power of Zhu Rong's fist, but he didn't even flinch. He stood his ground. Zhu Rong hadn't used his full strength on this first blow, but even so, the power from his arm changed the weather. Lu Feng stood firm and caught Zhu Rong's fist. Zhu Rong saw his fist land on Lu Feng's body, but Lu Feng didn't even budge, and there was no sign of pain on his face. Zhu Rong felt a twinge of frustration. Then, he felt a powerful force coming back at him, slamming into his arm. He felt an unspeakable shock. Startled by the counterattack, Zhu Rong took a step back, and with that one step, Zhu Rong and Houtu's eyes widened in surprise. Chapter 98 Three clans join forces. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At this point, neither Zhu Rong nor Houtu realized just how strong Lu Feng had become. Even Zhu Rong, known for his raw power, couldn't faze him. Nuwa remained composed. She knew Lu Feng was holding something back. Was he about to reveal his hand? Lu Feng grinned at Zhu Rong. My turn, right? Before Zhu Rong could react, Lu Feng launched a punch straight at him. Zhu Rong immediately summoned his blood power to defend against the blow, but the force of Lu Feng's fist was beyond anything Zhu Rong had anticipated. He even wondered if Lu Feng was secretly one of the witch race. Only they possessed such incredible strength. But before the thought fully formed, Lu Feng's fist sent him flying. Zhu Rong crashed into a mountain range. The force of the impact, amplified by his powerful body, shattered the mountains behind him, sending tremors through the earth. Witnessing Lu Feng's power, Houtu and Nuwa exchanged shocked glances. This kid was way stronger than they thought. With that kind of strength, had he already achieved sainthood through physical prowess? Even Houtu wasn't sure he could withstand a blow like that. Houtu looked at Lu Feng with a mix of admiration and disbelief. He'd initially believed Lu Feng was only winning due to his powerful treasures. After all, every treasure Lu Feng had pulled out was a rare artifact from ancient times. But now, seeing Lu Feng's true strength, Houtu wasn't so sure. With that kind of physical power, he wouldn't even need spiritual treasures. Any ordinary treasure would probably be crushed in his grip. Zhu Rong slowly recovered. The mountains hadn't actually harmed him, but Lu Feng's strength was a shock. The witch clan believed their bodies were the strongest in existence, but Lu Feng's presence shattered that assumption. Zhu Rong's physical strength was among the top 5 of the 12 ancestral witches, yet, he couldn't withstand a single blow from Lu Feng. Just how powerful was this guy? Nuwa was equally amazed. She knew Lu Feng had a trump card, but she never imagined it would be this explosive. Lu Feng's current physical strength clearly indicated he'd achieved physical sainthood. That put him on a completely different level than even the ancestral witches. Normally, not even innate spiritual treasures could easily break through the defenses of the 12 ancestral witches, but Lu Feng had achieved physical sainthood, effectively making his body a spiritual treasure itself. No wonder he'd been able to damage her exquisite pagoda with just his bare hands. But wasn't Lu Feng just a Daluo Jinxian? How had he achieved physical sainthood? Nuwa felt like her disciple was shrouded in mystery, impossible to fully understand. Zhu Rong flew back, having landed relatively unharmed since Lu Feng held back, only using about 30% of his strength. Even so, Zhu Rong was still itching for a rematch. Fellow Taoist Lu Feng, how about another round? Seeing Zhu Rong licking his lips, Lu Feng sighed internally. Fellow Taoist Zhu Rong, maybe another time. I only used 30% of my strength just now. If I used 50%, 80%, or even 100%. Zhu Rong's eyes widened with each percentage Lu Feng mentioned. Lu Feng had sent him flying with just 30% of his strength. If he went all out, would his witch body even survive the encounter? Thinking it over, Zhu Rong quickly shook his head. Never mind. Seeing his brother back down, Houtu chuckled internally, but said brightly, in that case, why don't we head back to the palace and continue our chat? Lu Feng naturally agreed. He wanted to guide Houtu toward creating the cycle of reincarnation. Without Houtu establishing that cycle, Fuxi wouldn't be able to reincarnate as a human and become the human emperor. So, both for the sake of his human followers and against the will of heaven, Lu Feng didn't want to alienate Houtu's day. Nuwa shared the same sentiment. The human race wasn't strong enough to protect itself. The demon tribe was still eyeing them. An alliance with the witch clan might be a good thing for humanity, so, the 4 of them returned to the palace. This time, Houtu stated his purpose directly. My brother and I came here to invite Saint Nuwa to join us in an alliance. Saint Nuwa is no longer among the demon clan, and isn't hostile to the witch clan. Besides, the demon clan is threatening the human race. How about our 2 clans join forces to fight them together? Lu Feng remained silent, waiting for his teacher's response. Any sensible teacher would welcome a potential ally. It was just a bit too early for a full-blown alliance between the 2 races. Sensing Lu Feng's thoughts, Nuwa spoke. The war between the witch and demon clans is imminent, and the human race doesn't want to be dragged into it prematurely. But if the witch clan needs us later on, the human race will be willing to join forces. Hearing the first part of Nuwa's statement, Houtu's heart sank, but upon hearing the second half, his spirits lifted, and a wide smile spread across his face. Then Houtu thanked Saint Nuwa. A saint's promise was not easily broken, and an alliance with the witch clan was clearly the best option for the human clan. As for when the human race would actually join the fight, it didn't matter to Houtu's day. As long as they didn't stand against them, that was good enough, but Houtu still had some questions. Why can't the human race join forces with us from the beginning? Wouldn't that reduce the harm to both of our races? Chapter 99. The fate has not arrived yet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Nuwa sighed softly, then glanced at Lu Feng. Seeing this, Lu Feng said carefully, that last little mishap with the teacher drew the attention of the higher-ups. If the human sect gets involved in another war between the two big clans, the top guy will shut us down so fast your head would spin. He might even crush us. Houtu and Zhu Rong fell silent after hearing this, but Zhu Rong had a short fuse. We witches ain't afraid of nothing, not even the saint. If anything goes wrong, we, the 12 ancestral witches, will handle it. That the others went silent after hearing Zhu Rong's dumb comment, dude, they thought. We thought you were just slow. Turns out you're a straight-up moron, that if only the top guy could be handled that easily, the whole reason he's on top is because of his power, not to mention he's got the whole heavenly realm backing him up. Lu Feng rolled his eyes and moved on. Houtu looked at Lu Feng with a smile. So, when does the human race plan to jump into the game? Lu Feng smiled, holding his chin. The human race will jump in when the time is right, but first, you gotta deal with your own destiny. Houtu frowned for a moment. You mean the sea of blood? Lu Feng smiled and nodded. You're sharp. Your opportunity lies in that sea of blood. The sooner you seize it, the less chance the demon clan will have to rise up against you. Lu Feng was like a big bad wolf, urging Houtu, the little white rabbit, to dig that tunnel ASAP. Nuwa had noticed that her disciple was acting strange. Lu Feng usually left all the human society stuff to Honghuang, so why was he so eager to advise Houtu? He was obviously up to something. Nuwa had a hunch what Lu Feng was plotting, but she kept it to herself. Whatever it was, it wouldn't hurt the human religion, and given Lu Feng's personality, he had no beef with Houtu, so he wouldn't do anything to screw her over. He just wanted to guide Houtu to do something that would benefit them both. Nuwa decided to just sit back and listen. Houtu sighed. I've been to the Blood Sea already, but it sticks as turf. He won't let me in. But I felt a strong pull from the Sea of Blood. Lu Feng was curious about the connection between Houtu and the tunnel. Didn't you go inside and check it out? Houtu nodded sheepishly. Yeah, I went in. But Styx was so annoying that I knocked him out first. Then I wandered around inside, but couldn't find whatever was calling me. Lu Feng nodded. Sounds like you just haven't hit your stride with it yet. Houtu looked puzzled. My stride hasn't come yet. Exactly. Since you're already at Buzhou Mountain, you're just waiting for the right moment. When it comes, you'll have your big break. After hearing Lu Feng's words, Houtu and Zhu Rong stared intently at Lu Feng. The fact that Houtu's body wasn't suited for Zhou Shan had never been revealed. Most of the Wu clan didn't even know about it. How did Lu Feng know? Not only Houtu and Zhu Rong were surprised, but also Nuwa, who was sitting next to her, was also stunned for a moment. She seemed to have an ominous premonition. Sure enough, under the gazes of Houtu and Zhu Rong, Lu Feng asked calmly. Why are you looking at me like that? I asked the teacher to send it to you when you combined Buzzhauschen's All Things and Gods. As soon as Lu Feng finished speaking, a look of understanding suddenly appeared on Houtu's face. Mystery solved, but soon Houtu looked at Nuwa angrily, with resentment in his eyes. So you're the one who hit me with that jade slip before? Nuwa looked embarrassed. What? When did I hit someone with a jade slip? Lu Feng also nodded. Yeah, the teacher is such a gentle person and would never hit anyone with a jade slip. When I gave it to her, she said she'd give it to you. Houtu's eyes became even more resentful. It really was you. No wonder I got such a big bump on my head, and it won't go away. Houtu was puzzled at the time. A normal bump on the head would have healed in minutes with her ancestral witch strength. It wouldn't even hurt an ancestral witch, but the jade slip happened to knock her down, and Houtu's forehead hurt for days. And it was all Nuwa's fault. Lu Feng also said that he originally asked Nuwa to leave it to him, but Nuwa wanted to save trouble and just chucked it. Nuwa wanted to strangle her traitor. How could he rat her out like that? Lu Feng always thought Houtu was the most chill of the 12 ancestral witches. Who knew that after Houtu finished her rant, she'd flip the table? Nuwa, you owe me an explanation, or I'm not letting this go. Nuwa dodged the stool thrown by Houtu, then took Houtu's blow, looking guilty. Fellow Taoist Houtu, no need to get so worked up, right? After all, I hadn't left the demon clan yet. Think about it, if I, a saint of the demon clan, gave you something, you'd be suspicious, so I thought I'd just throw it into your palace. Nuwa trailed off. After hearing Nuwa's explanation, Houtu, though still annoyed, didn't attack, but she still glared at Nuwa. Then why did you smash the jade slip on my head? You gave me such an ugly bump, Nuwa coughed. I just wanted to throw it near you. If you didn't care, it would have been a waste. So I threw it at your head to get your attention. Besides, we used to be so close, talking about Taoism together. You won't hold this little mistake against me, right? Nuwa played the friendship card. Chapter 100 Breaking Through the Peak of Daluo. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Houtu took a deep breath, then snorted, seeing she was comforted. Nuwa breathed a sigh of relief. This was a side of his teacher Lu Feng had never seen before. Nuwa was usually dignified and gentle, occasionally making a little joke or showing her charm, but never like this. Houtu walked past Nuwa and bowed to Lu Feng. Thank you, Taoist friend. I'm not suited for Zhoushan. I hope you'll keep it quiet. Her brothers were all so naive, none of them took the Tao ancestor seriously, but now, Houtu understood his thinking and knew how to lay low. Lu Feng smiled and waved. Of course. Don't worry. Houtu nodded, then patted Zhu Rong's shoulder. Then we won't bother you any longer. If you're ever free, come visit the Wu clan. We'll definitely show you a good time. Lu Feng smiled. I appreciate the offer. After they left, Lu Feng leaned back in his recliner, a knowing look on his face as he turned to Nuwa. I didn't expect the always dignified teacher to play these little tricks. Nuwa glared at him. You brat, I'm doing this for you. Lu Feng touched his nose and asked, Teacher, if Houtu becomes a saint, what if you two start fighting? Nuwa snorted. I'm the first female saint. If she achieves that status, we'll probably have to. Lu Feng imagined the scene of them fighting and shook his head. Nuwa looked puzzled. Why are you shaking your head like that? Lu Feng shook his head faster. No, my ears just got a little itchy. Nuwa nodded, satisfied. Now that's settled, I'll go back to Yang Palace. Xiandu isn't around, so keep an eye on Shouyang Mountain. And keep up with your training, got it? Lu Feng nodded, already missing Xuandu. When Xuandu was here, he did all the gatekeeping, now it was Lu Feng's job. After Nuwa left, Lu Feng immediately pulled out his road plate and started his daily sign-in. I didn't expect Houtu and Zhu Rong to visit. And Zhu Rong wanted to test my strength? Please, am I, who has become a saint in my physical body, afraid of you? I just knocked Zhu Rong down. Not bad, not bad. After recording the day's events, he got a system prompt. Congratulations, host, for completing today's sign-in. You will be rewarded with the best innate spiritual root, 5 spiritual peaches. Lu Feng was stunned. Then, a bright red peach the size of a fist appeared. It looked delicious. Lu Feng quickly understood the willing peach's function. Eating and refining it would directly improve his cultivation. Thinking of his teacher watching over his practice, Lu Feng thought he might as well just eat the peach. He swore it wasn't just greed. He took a bite and juice burst everywhere. Lu Feng's eyes lit up. It was as delicious as he'd imagined. He wondered when the system would send him a sapling so he could plant peaches in his Honghuang palace, then he could eat as many as he wanted. Lu Feng happily catalyzed the energy in the peach. As the energy was absorbed and refined, the power of laws began to revolve around him. Flowers of law emerged from his spiritual platform. Lu Feng had been suppressing his cultivation. Now, with the peach, the Zifu in his body suddenly exploded. Endless power and spiritual power surged through him. His cultivation began to rise sharply. He broke through the early stage of Daluo Jingxian and jumped to the middle stage, but it wasn't over yet. Lu Feng planned to go big. His cultivation continued to grow until he broke through to the late Daluo Jingxian stage. just one step left to the peak. Lu Feng hesitated. Should he reach the peak? In the end, he decided to go for it. Soon, his cultivation reached the peak of Daluo Jingxian. Looking at his rising strength, Lu Feng nodded. It was great not suppressing his cultivation. Lu Feng's strength had jumped significantly, but it wasn't time to become a quasi-saint yet. He didn't want to become Honghuang's target, so he chose to stay low. Daluo Jingxian's peak strength was enough for him. After his breakthrough, Lu Feng immediately returned to his relaxed life. Every day he looked at flowers and grass or fished in the lotus pond. As time passed, Lu Feng thought Houtu had probably almost figured out how the ancestral witch could give birth to a soul. After all, the law of all things and gods was a pretty high level. Once Houtu was proficient, she could quickly adapt it into a method for the other ancestral witches. On another sunny day, Lu Feng took out his road plate. It's been so long. I wonder how Houtu is doing. The level of the method of all-seeing unity I gave her isn't low. If she studies it carefully, she should be able to figure out how ancestral witches can cultivate their souls. Then Houtu will be able to lead the 12 ancestral witches to build a tunnel. I don't believe Honghuang can suppress those tunnels. After completing today's report, he got another system reward. Congratulations, host, for completing today's sign-in and obtaining the supreme method two-way method of luck. Lu Feng was stunned, then read the introduction. Two-way method of Qi luck is a supreme method that binds one's Qi luck with the Taoist's Qi luck. If the practitioner is damaged, the Taoist's Qi luck will decline. If the Taoist's Qi luck is damaged, it will not affect the practitioner. As luck increases, practitioners can also benefit.